Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney.
And I'm MK.
And how are you?
I'm fantastic.
Good. Good.
This weekend, I saw As You Like It at Shakespeare in the Park.
How was it?
It was wonderful. Like, it was genuinely such a good performance of it. As You Like It is like my second favorite Shakespeare. It's the first show that I ever did any stage management on. It is, I know it almost word for word. Like, that is my play. It's the first show I ever saw at Shakespeare in the Park like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they just like, they got it. Like, the comedy wasn't just funny. Like, you could tell that the actors like got the jokes. And it was fantastic.
I've been waiting for you to tell me about it because I knew you were going to tell me on the podcast. So I was like, not.
You were like, don't tell me because I know you're going to tell me later. But like, also, was it amazing? It was amazing.
Like, I need to know what's happening.
And one of the lead actresses is a girl that I am not friends with. And the person I was there with, they were like, oh no, like, and I go, here's the thing, we're not friends. She hates me, but I will see her in literally everything because she's one of the best actors I know. And then at intermission, he asked me which one was the girl that hated me. And I told him which character. He goes, oh no. I go, isn't she the best one on stage? He was like, yeah. I was like, I know she hates me, but she's wonderful.
I'm so excited because that's the show. That's the one we're having second, right? Didn't we talk about this already?
Yes, that's the one you guys are having second. Yes.
So.
It's so good.
I didn't realize how short these runs are because like they're like a month long. They're not even maybe 6 weeks. It's like really short because this one ends July 17th and it feels like but I'm pretty sure it started the first week of June.
Ours started, I think, either the first week of June or the second week of June, but then it also ends on the 17th.
Yeah, so it's either 5 or 6 weeks long, and I just feel like it's longer. I don't know why.
Well, they have to have 2 plays in the park in the summer. They can't be 10-week runs.
That doesn't make me feel any differently.
Which one do you guys have first again?
I don't know. One of the Kings. What is it?
Oh, King Lear.
Not King Lear.
No, okay. Oh, is it one of the histories?
I don't know.
Is it Richard III?
Yes.
Richard III. We talked about this.
I told you it was King Lear, and then I was like, oh, no, it's not.
No, because King Lear is the only one of the kings that's not a history. It's a drama. So it's Richard. Richard III is good. I love Richard III. We have 2 comedies this year, which is odd. I don't love that, but they're both shows that I love.
Midsummer's Night Dream is the other
one? We're doing Midsummer is the other one. But I mean, and we just did Midsummer for my Shakespeare. So like I'm not So I'm not upset. But I don't like that it's 2 comedies. I wish it was a comedy and a tragedy or a comedy and a history. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah. How are you?
I'm well. I have switched from coffee to Coke now because I am just drinking cold.
I haven't had coffee yet, but I am on my second Mountain Dew of the day.
It is tragic. I want to talk about Marvel in my opening spiel.
Fantastic. Your tweets have been giving me life this week.
I'm very glad because they also give me life, even though they're like, I'm saying them, they're giving me life. So in case you haven't listened to last week's Thriller Thursday yet, or don't follow me on Twitter, or any of the above, like 2 years ago, I started doing a Marvel rewatch in chronological order. And I don't think it's 100% correct, but I found a list of every movie and TV show that was Marvel, and it's mostly in chronological order. It breaks it up between the 4 phases. It seems
now chronological order in terms of when it was released or in terms of when it takes place?
When it takes place.
Okay.
Like I started with Winter Soldier.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. And so I'm in the first phase still, I think, or I may have just entered the second phase. But
well, the other thing is some of these things that you're talking about are not part of the phases because they're not MCU.
So it's not MCU.
Yeah.
It's just Marvel.
Yeah.
But they still broke it up in the MCU phases for the way they did it to see where to fit in that storyline too. So like I'm watching everything Marvel that I can. I haven't watched the cartoons, just because they weren't included on the list. So I'm doing live action Marvel rewatch. So I started watching it like 2 years ago, and I got stuck on Mutant X season 1, and I finally finished it. And so now I am back in at full force. I am starting Mutant X season 2, which I like better than season 1 so far.
That's good.
But in between season 1 and season 2 were the 2 Spider-Man films, 2002, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2012, which I'd never seen before. Have you watched the one with Andrew Garfield?
I have not.
Okay, so here is my non-spoilery take. I would have absolutely loved this one in 2012 because he's definitely a skater boy. Emma Stone plays
Gwen
Stacy. I kept trying to say Stacy Gray, and I was like, that is not it.
No.
Gwen Stacy. And so I didn't hate the movie, but I watched it right after Tobey Maguire, which was my first Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it didn't live up to the hype for me. I was kind of
so. This is the theory that I have heard, and I think that I pretty much stand by it. Tobey Maguire was a fantastic Peter Parker, but a mid Spider-Man.
I think that's fair.
Andrew Garfield was a fantastic Spider-Man, but a mid Peter Parker. Tom Holland was the only one to capture both.
Yes, 100% agree. Also, I am not making this a Marvel podcast. I just have a lot of feelings. So the 2012 was supposed to be a remake of the 2002.
Yeah.
But they're in different universes because, like, different multiverses, because he has MJ in high school in the first one. He has Gwen Stacy in the movie in the second one.
Okay.
Multiverses.
Well, that's because in the original comics, he doesn't meet MJ until after Gwen dies. But because Gwen dies, they have always done this weird thing with a lot of the like Peter Parker TV shows and the Spider-Man stuff where they like get rid of Gwen because it's too tragic.
Well, they brought her back, I think, in the third one, didn't they? The Tobey Maguire third one?
Yes, but they fucked that up. The Spider-Man 3, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3 shouldn't exist. Just point blank period. But they're not technically different universes. They're supposed to be the same universe. It wasn't until the multiverse concept was entered into the MCU that they just decided to break them up and pretend that they all exist simultaneously.
Gotcha. I've not watched the new movies. Do not tell me. I haven't watched Into the Multiverse.
I have not watched Into the Multiverse yet. I haven't watched the
last 2 Spider-Man.
But I did watch. My brother just put his thumbs down from across the room. I have also heard it was not great. But I did watch the third Spider-Man movie.
I have not watched the third
I
Spider-Man.
saw the multiverse Spider-Man thing.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, and I haven't seen is it Into the Spider-Verse is the one that has like the cartoon one in it too?
Yes. Okay. To be fair, Into the Spider-Verse, probably one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Everyone's told me that.
And also the fact that you haven't seen it as a John Mulaney fan.
I know.
Because Spider-Ham is the best part of that movie.
Yes. I believe it. Yes, I have a lot of Marvel feelings. I will probably continue to have Marvel feelings unless I do wait a year to finish.
That means that you're not caught up with like current Marvel things, correct?
No, but I'm not watching them. I'm not waiting to watch them.
Oh, because have you seen any of Miss Marvel yet?
No, I'm not caught up. So what happened there? Watched WandaVision. Loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. We talked about this last week.
Yes.
But I started watching Winter Soldier,
which was not great.
I watched like an episode, and it was
bad.
Great.
No,
it
was bad.
Threw me off. I was watching every movie. I was doing everything. I got to Winter Soldier, and everything shut down for me.
Yeah, which is fair because it was garbage. But Loki
was going to go back. It's only 6 episodes. I'm going to go back.
Loki was phenomenal.
I heard that. Yeah.
And Ms. Marvel, I didn't know how I was going to feel about it because it is weirdly not the same as the Ms. Marvel comics, but it's actually, and it's also the characters are much younger. Mm-hmm. Like they're like 15, 16-year-olds. So like it's weird.
Yeah.
But I'm actually really enjoying it. It's pretty good. So
Yeah, I am gonna watch it, and I'm thinking I really today's 4th of July for those of you who don't know when we are in real life.
Yes.
This comes out in like 7 weeks or something.
Sometime.
And so I do need to do writing, and I'm editing a book for someone else, and my book, and I'm getting ready to write a stage show for a friend of mine who wants to write about her life story.
Fantastic.
I've got some thoughts, so I need to do that today. But I may or may not watch Winter Soldier just to get it out of the way today soon. We'll see.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know what we don't need to get out of the way?
Our spirituality.
Yes, we need to always include that.
I didn't mean to say that as sexually as I did, but like.
We did though. And you know what? You don't even have to tell me, because guess who ain't gotta explain shit to nobody? You. So
Man, these cards, do they just read me?
they just read you from across the state.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
Computer across the state. We're basically stargating to each other. FaceTime.
Now that we understand the concept of how a Stargate works.
This is basically it. Except we wouldn't both be active at the same time.
Because we're on Earth. Oh,
Yeah.
that's sad.
Probably most of the time.
Eh,
But
eh.
we're not talking about Stargate this week.
No.
We are talking about Bates Motel, because it is Thriller Thursday.
Facts.
And we are on season 2, episode 6, and it is called Plunge.
Can I tell you, on Peacock, when you are hovering over a show, it tells you the genre of the show. And I didn't realize that. And I thought it was telling me that this episode was called drama. And I was like,
So I did that last episode, and I even wrote it down as the title because it's what popped up first.
Yeah.
And then I went on IMDb and was like, why can't I find this one? And then I was like, oh, that's not the title. Like literally the entire time I was taking my notes, I had that as the title.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so same.
But Plunge makes way more sense than drama.
Way more sense. The air date is April 7th, 2014.
Oh, that's my friend Nate's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday. Late.
Yeah.
8 years ago. It is rated 8.4 out of 10.
Okay. I
Which-
love it.
I agree. I have feelings about. I think this is the catalyst where we're going. I think this is the episode that had to happen to send us to the finale of the season.
I agree. I will also say it's the first episode that I felt was entirely predictable from beginning to end.
It was very predictable, but it had a lot of
good stuff in it. It's just that every episode so far has done something that caught me off guard or shocked me, and not 1 second of this was shocking to me.
I think, and I wonder if that was by design, because one of the things I felt about this episode was that it kept the suspense building. There was no real levity in this episode.
There wasn't. Yeah.
Great intensity the entire time. And by the end, that's the expected outcome.
Mm-hmm.
But because I'm assuming what's going to happen next, I'm guessing that was more of the push off, not the apex, which is how they portrayed it, because that's how they do a lot of their episodes. They have this big apex that catches you off guard, and they deal with the next episode. I don't think this was the apex like it has been in every episode.
No, which makes sense because it's episode 6. So we're about to do, and we did that last time where episode 6 was kind of but it's because it was ramping up to all the shit that happened for the rest of the season. So
it's going to derail us.
I get it.
Yeah, direction. So I think that was by design to lead us into the last 4 episodes of the season.
It's just that I watched it so early in the morning and it wasn't very exciting, and so I was kind of mad.
That's very fair, very fair. You know what you're gonna enjoy?
Okay.
Guess what the number 1 song is?
If It's Still Happy.
It's Still Happy. How? I know this song has run, but how long did this song?
It's not even a good song.
It's because it was from Despicable Me. Your movie, what did you call it?
Oh, the cinematic masterpiece of our century.
Yes. So that's why.
This past weekend, Despicable Me or Minions 2: The Rise of Gru came out, and I jokingly said that it was the cinematic masterpiece of our time. But to be fair, the cultural overtake that Despicable Me was, like, that's not actually an unfair thing to say. Like, I'm not saying it was. It's no Citizen, like, it's no Citizen Kane. Like, let's be clear, it's no Citizen Kane. But it did change our culture.
Very much. Very much.
So,
and the number one movie is still Captain America: Winter Soldier, but fine.
like,
two.
Unsurprising.
I will say, as great of a movie as this is, the first time I watched it, didn't care for it. I was like, meh. Then I did a rewatch while I was taking my finals in law school, and I passed all of them with A's. But I was watching this while I was taking my finals.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And then when I started my Marvel rewatch a couple years back, I was like, this is the greatest movie. Why are we not talking about it?
No, it is good. It is good. I think it's just because I'm an Iron Man girl, not a Captain America girl. So, like, it didn't.
That's where I started too. Yeah, that's what happened. Is I also started as, like, and I know, like, Iron Man was the first MCU movie to come out, so maybe that's why. But, like, I mean, I loved Iron Man, but then I got really heavy in the Avengers, and then Captain America I just didn't, like, follow with.
Well, but like, even in, like, Civil War, I was fully Team Iron Man.
Yeah, I mean, same. I was not in it still by then, and doing a rewatch and then watching Agent Carter right after. Brilliant.
Okay, that's fair, because Agent Carter makes that movie so much better. Like, when you've seen the show and you understand her character, it does make that show so much better. Or the movie. I don't think that Peggy's character, if you don't watch any of the TV shows and you only watch the movies, the things that happen in Endgame with Steve and Peggy don't make as much sense as if you watch the show and you get why she's special.
Yeah, I wish I would have watched Agent Carter before I watched Endgame. Because, I mean, I still felt a lot of things because I just feel a lot in general. Yeah. But
well, you did not live in mine and Kate's apartment.
I did not.
But
I missed Agent Carter. But it came out, was it 2012?
Yeah, but here's the reason mine and Kate's apartment is important to the story is because Lauren, our roommate, I have never met someone as obsessed with Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter. Like, it was her entire personality some days.
That is an okay approach.
So so that was something, you couldn't live in that apartment and not know everything about them.
Yes, very fair, very fair. I love Agent Carter. She might be my favorite Marvel character. I understand that's like a strong take, but
my favorite Marvel character is also someone that it's a strong take because nobody agrees with me, and I don't even care, because it is Pepper Potts, and I don't care what anybody thinks.
I don't think she's the strongest, but I understand.
Again, it's because she is me. Like, that is yeah. I have feelings. It's fine.
Agent Carter is who I want to grow up to be. So
Pepper Potts is who I did grow up to be.
There you go. No. Not there yet. We'll see.
What, you're not grown up yet? No. Don't worry. Once you hit 30, it's all over.
Great. Can't wait.
Just kidding. 30 is the best.
First of all, I had this.
30 is the best year of my life. We talked about this last week.
I'm ready to be 30. Start there. But I was at the bar working Saturday, and I had this, like, mother and her daughter-in-law, and they were both older than me. The mother was like 75, and the daughter-in-law thought I was 22, and then her mother-in-law thought I was 38. And I was like, these are very different ages.
That is quite the gap.
And I was like, I don't think I look either of those ages.
No.
But
No. You solidly look like you're around 30.
Well, that's where I am. Where I am. Solidly around 30. But it was like back to back they felt this. And I was like, these are very different ages. I'm like, I don't know what's happening.
That's confusing.
Yeah, it was very confusing. But then that's who gave me the really big tip on Saturday.
Okay.
They were Southern.
Of course.
So, you know, on this day, not a lot of great things happened, but some things happened.
Sure.
They celebrated, lamented, maybe a better word, the 20th anniversary of the genocide in Rwanda, like Rwanda.
No,
I guess coming out of it.
yeah, no. Weird things that I'm unnaturally knowledgeable about it would be the response of the church to the Rwandan genocide. It's something that I have spent a lot of time. The president of Rwanda and what he's done in that country for like Christianity and not the time or place, but I know too much about that.
And whenever I need a rabbit hole, I will ask you about it. You can tell me all about it. Mickey Rooney died, but he was 93, so like
yes, I do remember when Mickey Rooney died.
Yeah. I couldn't have been like, oh, that was the time, but I remember that he died.
Yes, same.
Like,
Same.
But I barely know when I'm alive half the time. So, and the celebrity birthdays for this day, a couple of big ones were Jackie Chan and Russell Crowe have a birthday on April 7th, so they share it with the pal.
Fantastic.
The director is a returning director, so we have talked about him. I had forgotten. It's Ed Bianchi.
Oh, okay.
He directed the episode A Boy and His Dog.
Yes.
Which was a fun one. Because I had forgotten about him. I included a few things he was known for. City on a Hill, Deadwood, Boardwalk Empire, and The Wire. Which
I remember talking about how I've seen none of those.
Yes, me too. Yes. But I just, just a reminder. Yeah. And I'm going to talk about for our cast member today that I'm bringing up is Rebecca Kreskoff. She plays Christine. Okay. I'm talking about her. I'm not ready to talk about the other woman yet. Yeah. She is known for shows such as Justified, NCIS, Hung, and Knucklehead.
She is in NCIS. Okay.
I haven't seen any of those shows. I missed the NCIS train somehow. I think I'd like it. I'll probably go back and watch it one day.
You would love it. Yes. No, now that you say that, that does make sense because she always looked familiar to me and I couldn't figure out why, but it was NCIS. That's why.
Well, she's also on the things I would have seen her in because she's all familiar to me. She was on Mad Men and on Single Parents.
I haven't seen neither of those.
So I love Single Parents. It ended way too early. I will stand on that hill forever. Mad Men probably took too long to end, but it was good for what it was. I don't think it's as masterful as the rest of the world does, but it's fine. It's an enjoyable show. Her daughter's name is Sadie. Oh, that was sweet. And I did go in a little bit of a rabbit hole. Her husband is Michael Glassner. So I read Glassner and I was like, oh, I know that name. Is that the guy who worked on Stargate?
No, that's Jonathan Glassner.
But I do know that name because he was the COO for Trump in 2020. So I have heard Michael Glassner. Oh. I just like these people because they
Wait, so she's married to one of Trump's people?
Yes.
Now, wait, COO, so like for the Trump Industries, not for the presidency?
No, for the presidency stuff. Like COO of something in the presidency, I think. I truly didn't think. I didn't think that far.
No, COO is like a business thing.
Right. Yeah, it's like an operating officer, but like operations office, operations, is that the one it is?
Yes, chief operating officer.
Operation.
That's because that's like my dad's.
Yeah. So.
Oh, he served as the COO of the 2020 campaign.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I've heard that name before. And he is not related. I don't know. I didn't go that far. He might be related to Jonathan Glassner, but they are not the same person. And I do know that. Because I really freaked out when I thought they were the same person. And I was like, what? She's married to Glassner from Stargate? But no, alas.
No, she's just married to someone who worked for Trump, which is a very no, wait. I don't think it's the same Michael Glassner.
I think it is. He did politics. He did medical than politics. I think it was the same one.
Huh. No, she married a fertility doctor named Michael Glassner.
Oh.
Yeah, no, because I just couldn't imagine somebody in Hollywood who like worked on a show like this with these people being part of the Trump thing. Her husband is significantly younger than the man who works for Trump. I was looking at pictures and I was like, that's not the same person.
I'm glad you've cleared that up because I went in circles.
Yes, no, she's married to a fertility doctor who just happens to have the same name as Trump's campaign manager.
Got it. Yes. Well, everything's
that might have been confusing for some people.
Yes. So,
who's also probably not related to the guy from Stargate.
Also probably not related to Jonathan Glassner, but we'll never know.
Wow, what a journey this has been.
Could you imagine where I was going on this journey by myself? I had a whole time. Anyways,
yeah.
Another journey we went on was this episode. And it is called Plunge, as I've said. And we start with none other than Norma and Norman. And Norma, we see her looking at the paper about Lee Berman. I can't remember.
Berman, yes. That sounds right.
Yes, over Lee Berman, because she's still very uncomfortable with this whole situation of him dying immediately after finding out, after she told someone he was the reason.
Clearly not uncomfortable enough for this episode to continue the way it does, but that's fine.
Right. And then Norman is talking to her, and we find out that he has been drinking with Cody, which we knew, but now she also knows.
Okay, but also she needed to get her shit together, this thing, because Norma, like Norman Rockwell level housewife Norma, is so fucked up about this thing that she didn't even make breakfast and then like blew Norman off about it and then got mad at him for lying to her. And I was like, ma'am, get your shit all the way together.
He's a lame today. But
I literally wrote woman demanding he doesn't keep secrets while also lying straight to his face. Way to go. Like, yes. And to be fair, do parents sometimes have reasonable reasons to lie to their kids and also still need them to be honest? Sure.
Right.
This was not one of those times.
No, absolutely not. And she tells him that he can't be drinking. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's a bad place to start, because that's one of the, I don't remember it being a big scene in the movie, but it was a bigger plot point in the book.
Okay.
A lot. I mean, vaguely a lot, but it was mentioned a lot. That's not good for his mental psyche. I
can't imagine that someone with a dissociative identity drinking alcohol and having no control over which identity is present is a great thing. When one of those identities is a fucking murderer.
Right. So we've already pre-alcohol started going down this Norma train, and now we're adding alcohol. Like, it makes me worry, which is a thing I've heard people say about this show, is that it starts off really strong and then it just kind of peters out and glides until it's over. And I am concerned that's going to be the case because of how quickly they're moving into each of these storylines. Because personally, if I was writing this show, I would have introduced the Norma bit where they introduced it. I thought that was really well with the way the show's going.
But the frequency of his blackouts is starting, like, happening as often as they are is starting too soon. Like, that should have been a season 3 thing.
I agree. The frequency, and even, I mean, I might have even waited for the drinking for the end of season 3, like, or beginning of season 4, because that's such a big, especially because it's a bigger point in the book.
Right. If they don't go too far with it, fine.
Right.
Like, they can do what they did now where they casually mention that drinking's not good for him and then don't touch on it for a while. Fine. But if they're going to lean into this what happens when he drinks thing and the blackouts are getting so frequent, it's just too much. Like, to be honest, I find the political intrigue with Norma and her weird friends more interesting than Norman's story, and that shouldn't be where we're at.
No, I agree, because it's so much more oh my gosh, I can't use any of my words today, but like you don't know what's going to happen with Norma's story.
Right. There's no end game that we know.
It's too predictive. We know where it's going. We know exactly where they're leading us to. Like the next step is to kill someone. It happens, and then it's just going to get worse. Like we're not being surprised anymore by what's happening. But with Norma and all these people she's meeting and everything that's happening, like we don't know where this is going. We don't know how it's in. I know that this like whole weed town was not really a big setting for the book or the film. And I think it's been absolutely fascinating. And I think they've written it in the right speed. Like
they basically found a way to use a character that people already knew of to pull in an audience for a show that has nothing to do with that character. Because let's be fair, Norman is the least interesting character in the show.
Yeah, because he doesn't have anything happening that we wouldn't expect already.
Which, so, I mean, on the one hand, isn't entirely their fault because they took a character that's so well defined that you can't do much with it. But then, like, don't. Like, write this whole show about a different person.
Yeah, write the show. Even if you're going to write it about him, write the show and don't make that the main focal point. Like, even every 7 episodes, make him like dissociate, something weird happens.
Right.
Like, so it catches us off guard, but making it the entire show when we already know where it's going doesn't lead people to want to stay. Yeah. But I mean, I still like the show right now.
No, so far, I mean, this was the first episode that I genuinely was like, I could take it or leave it. Up until this point, I've been super invested in every episode.
Yeah. So, yeah, and so we also learn that Norman's getting his license tomorrow or the next day.
Good for him.
And I was like, that's the last thing he needs. So, but
I disagree, because if he had a car, he could get the fuck away from Norma and maybe have some hope for his life.
But also, he's not going to do that. It's going to make it.
I know.
Kill people.
I know. I just still keep hoping that they're going to write a different character than what I know he is.
I understand that. If you wrote this, you could write a different character.
I could, but that's because it wouldn't be Norman Bates. It would just be this story with a different character.
Yeah. And it's Norman Bates that is probably in the public domain, not the story of Bates Motel. So, wouldn't be able to follow. And then we go back to the hospital where Dylan is coming out, and we learned that his pal Remo, who was supposed to be picking him up, is not. I know her name. Do you know if they ever mentioned her name in this episode?
No, her name is not, like, I still have no idea what her name is. So my guess is...
I've not referred to her with a name yet. But.
Okay, I just called her this lady for all of my notes.
So the lady who's in charge is the one who comes to pick him up because he saved Zane and put his life in danger. And she's like, you're going to come stay with me until you're better. So we're going to keep you alive. And she lives real off the beaten path. And she tells him, he's like, where are we going? She's like, I'm driving out here to kill you. And she's like, JK. Literally the opposite. Like,
right.
I make sure you stay alive. So
I wrote that, like, this lady is something else. This whole thing is stressing me out. But at least somebody seems to give a fuck what happens to Dylan. Like,
so I love her. I do think she has ulterior motives, but I love her.
Yeah, no, for sure.
We know she has some ulterior motives based on how the show goes, but I think it's deeper than that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then they get to her house, and she lives in this like really nice big country estate, and like
beautiful,
has all these animals and stuff, and has her own little like weed set up. And they go inside, and she's so nice and so like open for someone who's like a drug lord. Like,
right. She's just very confusing to me.
yeah, she's like, is there someone we should call? So they're like, not looking for you, not your family, whatever. And he's like, no, they don't care about me. And then he's like, that felt really pathetic. Hold on, let me start over. I was like, okay, tell it.
Yeah.
And when he said that, I felt like it was not the character, but like his actual person saying that. Like he said, like
right, like he was like,
and then was like, oh, that's
yeah, like that was just Max being like, wow, that was a line read. Cool.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly how I felt, which made it really funny. And then he gets all set up, and we go back to Norma, and she's popping over to see Nick again because she thinks she could do that because she has no idea what's going on in this town, even though she thinks she does. And the lady's like, "You're not on the calendar," and she's like, "No, I just want to like talk to him." And she's like, "You're not on the calendar. You can't come in.
That's not how this works."
No." And she's like, "So I have to go home and call him and then come back." And she's like, "Yes. Okay, bye." Like. And it's
but
like,
luckily, yeah, he's right there.
Turns around and he's right there. And they start chatting about Lee Berman and about this seat on the board. And he's like, yeah, it was, she's like, that's so sad. He's like, yeah, inconvenient. And she's like, I don't think I'd ever say someone's death is convenient. And I was like, okay.
He was like, well, then you're lying.
Right. Because back it up, like, her husband was abusive and he died and she got a payout. Like
Summers tried to rape her and then he died and she didn't have any more harassment. Like Zach was trying to use her hotel to kill small Chinese girls and now he's dead. Like you've had a lot of convenient deaths, ma'am.
Right. Like to say that you've never felt that way, like you definitely have.
Yeah.
And Lee Berman is convenient for you, even if it's not nice to say it. Like
but also Nick is so callous to this whole thing that it just gave me the ick.
I mean, he runs this town. Like, I mean, it's very clear that like he can't do what he wants.
Still gives me the ick.
I mean, no, absolutely. Obviously, it's not clear in Norma, but it's clear to the rest of the world.
Right.
But yes, it also gives me the ick. I do not care for him. I do not trust him. I think he's only bad.
Well, okay, but then she's like, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. And he was like, a part of what? She's like, whatever this is. And he was like, okay. And she's like, I can take it from here. I said, sure you can.
Right. I said, okay, Norma.
Okay. Try again.
I said, they'll never let you go and you absolutely cannot take it from here. Like, that's not how it works.
She has handled zero of what has happened in this entire show on her own.
No, literally not.
Literally, Zach saved her from Keith
Summers.
Then Alex saved her from the Zach drama. Then Christine saved her from the reputation of her hotel being shit. Like, she has handled zero of this on her own. She can't even handle Norman on her own. That's why Dylan knows all the secrets.
She hit the real estate agent with her purse. That was all she did on her own accord. And
that solved what for her?
Exactly.
I can handle it myself. Okay.
You can't do anything, Norma. Bless your heart. I mean, even Emma basically runs the hotel now.
Right.
Like, so speaking of Christine, she comes over to Norma's and she's like, I want you to sit on the board. And she's like, what? You want me to what? That would be great, but I don't think it's going to happen. She's like, no, I think this is good. You're a single mom. You're new to town. You've got good ideas. Everyone likes you. You're going to sit on the board. She's like, okay.
I wrote, Christine is such a fucking crazy person. Like, where is she from? What is her deal? I am so confused by her.
I have no idea. Like, I mean, obviously she's got motives, but like, what is she even doing?
Right. Like, what? I understand none of her motivation.
Absolutely. I'm like, so far she has tried to hook Norma up with her brother, and she is trying to get her a seat on the board for the bypass that she doesn't want to be, that like Norma doesn't want, not that Christine doesn't care about. And like, nothing seems to be.
And also, it's not, what does it benefit Christine? Because Christine's husband benefits from the bypass getting built.
Right.
So Christine is like, what, secretly working for Nick? But like, how does that, is she fucking Nick?
Probably.
Is she fucking her brother? I don't want to think that, but like, this whole show.
Oh, no, remember I said I think that they're his kids. I think they're Nick's
kids. Oh, that's
kids.
right. You think that Nick's their dad. That would, That would be more. Mhm.
Oh, track. I forgot about that.
Right. I forgot that was one of our theories.
Yeah, so we're gonna hold to that because that makes the most sense.
That is and it gives me less ick than any of my theories.
I agree. And then so Norma is gung ho, and we go back to Dylan. And this woman is like hella taking care of him. She is like basically like she's like, we're gonna have this for dinner. Here's some medicine. Like we're gonna hang out. I'm like, you don't know each other.
I wrote every woman on the show is fucking awful.
Yeah, I was like, they're basically a married couple at this point. Like,
no, I literally zero women on this show are written in a way that does not confuse me.
No, it doesn't make. Yeah, they don't make any sense. Like, I mean, Emma makes the most sense.
Yeah,
out of all of them.
Yeah, no, Emma's literally the only female character on the show that is not problematic, because Emma's problematic because she doesn't know that she's problematic.
Right.
But like,
but she's also a teenager. Like,
exactly.
Teenagers are problematic. Like, as a whole.
But like, and like her being so trusting in Norma is a problem, but she doesn't know that that's a problem. She's doing what on the outside surface is the correct thing.
I also don't know that trusting Norma is a problem as much as trusting
Norman.
Because I do think Norma sans Norman, as a normal person, human being, I think she could be good for Emma.
She could, but Norma's whole deal goes back to the fact that she needs therapy, and
absolutely. And without Norman, she might would have gotten it, because
I don't think so.
I don't know. If it was like, I don't know, she might would have. But then again, if without Norman, she'd still be with her husband, and she might not even be alive for all we know. So
right, that's the thing. She jumped from one kind of abuse to another, to another, to another. I don't know that she would have ever had the wherewithal to save herself, which is.
But she did it because she didn't have anything to support herself. And after this last husband passed away, she got the life support. And so,
but the thing is, if it weren't for Norman, she wouldn't have fought her way out.
Right.
And but that is weird, because she didn't do the same for Dylan. So like, I can't, what is it about?
She didn't do that for him. No, it was Norman that killed him.
No. Yes, but she fought back. She yelled, like the yelling and everything, the fighting back. She never would have done that if it weren't for Norman. Like, because we see that flashback in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So like, but like, I don't know. Does she have a personality without Norman?
That's fair. I don't know. I don't think so.
So basically, every woman on the show is a problem.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's not to say that every man on the show is not also a problem. It's just that the way these women are written is very concerning.
Yeah. Although I do like that this woman is she's the drug lord of everything.
Yes.
I like that she's a woman. I mean, not that she's a good person per se. We'll see. She might be those, but
she's a woman in power. But like, all of the women have some kind of power, just weirdly. Like,
That's true. So
I hate it.
then we go to Emma and Gunnar, and they are back at it again. And she says she's delivering towels. I said that must be a new euphemism. And then she's like, I have to go. And she leaves. And Norman's just waiting for Cody outside. And I was like, this was very quick. We are jumping back into going places with Cody.
Yeah.
And
okay, when Cody pulled up and her music was playing, I wrote, Norma is absolutely going to set Cody on fire.
Yeah, but Norma's not having it. This is
no.
She is not pleased, and she surprisingly did not make a scene, but she did go kick Norman out of the car and be like, "We have to talk." And
then also the things that she said to Cody weren't as concerning as I thought they were going to be.
She handled it very differently than I would have expected. And I thought she kind of did okay. Like, because she was like, she knows they're going to hang out, even though she doesn't want them to, because she's like, you're a normal teenager. She was like, but you have to know that this is a medical condition. He can't drink. like, even if you're going to do other crazy things and you're going to disobey everything else I say, this
Like
is
for his, if you care even a fucking iota for this
Right.
guy, do not give him alcohol.
And I was like, that's kind of the way to handle it.
Right. I was like genuinely impressed with Norma in this moment.
So, yeah. And so then Norman gets back in and she's like, I'm not making a scene, but we're not doing this again. I was like, okay, Norma, there's the Norma I was expecting.
Yeah.
And they go off and Cody immediately is like, let's not do this. He's like, don't we need to go to work? And she's like, that's what I love about you. It's like, that's just normal people things. That's just normal people usually go to work when they're supposed to. I don't understand.
It made me laugh because it reminded me of a conversation I had the other day with a guy who was saying that he paid a parking ticket that he didn't have to because he was like, well, like I could have gotten out of it, but like I felt like if I didn't pay it, I wouldn't have learned the lesson. And I'd literally just go, you are so earnest. Okay.
No, I would have guilt if I get a ticket that I feel like I've learned the lesson based on my guilt. And if I don't have to pay it, I'm still going to have learned the lesson. Like, I do not need to lose money for that.
No. Will I find a way to use my connections to get out of literally anything? Yes.
Yes.
Does that make me a good person? Maybe. Maybe not.
Depends on the situation.
Am I still going to do it?
Absolutely.
Yes.
As you should. As you should.
So, like, I related to Cody in that moment. I was just like, oh, you sweet, poor angel baby. No, that's not what we're doing.
I related to Norman in that moment. Why would we not just go here? Like, because that was me. I mean, that's still me. I still go where I'm supposed to go, but like,
I mean, I go to work.
Right. And but yeah, so then Cody immediately takes him to her house to get alcohol. And I was like, how stupid are you? It's like, we just had this conversation. You have no idea what she means by medical. It could literally kill him. You have no idea. And you go from giving him beer immediately to heart liquor.
Yeah.
You have no idea what can happen.
Yeah.
And also, like, aside from the dissociation thing, like, his father was an alcoholic. Your dad's an alcoholic. Why do you think this is like?
I would call that a very clear depiction of oppositional defiance disorder as a trauma response.
You are. I cannot argue with that. That sounds 100% correct.
Yeah.
So,
like, am I there for it? No. Do I fully get what she's doing? Yeah.
Yeah. But also, he could die. He won't from it, but she doesn't know that.
Right.
You tell me something's a medical disorder, I'm immediately going to assume you're going to die if you do whatever.
Yeah, but you don't have ODD.
No, I do not. But I also do have medical disorders, and I feel like if I do some things out of line, I will die from them. So I just assume everyone else has similar things. Like, people are like, have you ever had cocaine? And I'm like, no, I think I would die. They told me not to have caffeine when I was a child. Obviously, I do that. But I'm like, if I'm not supposed to have caffeine, I definitely shouldn't have cocaine. I will immediately have a heart attack. So, like, whether that's true or not, that's how I immediately feel about it.
I mean, that's a good coping thing to use to never do drugs. Like, I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, that's my coping mechanism. If I do it, I will die. Therefore, I won't do it. It's not worth it.
Would work for me, except for that I just am not afraid of dying.
Terrified of it.
I'm like, oh, my car is going to explode and I might die today. That would suck.
Yeah. No, I'm very much not on the death train. Not on it. I understand it will happen for me one day because that is how life works.
I don't have a first class ticket. I don't want it. But like, if it's a stop somewhere on the train I'm on, like, I can't. What am I gonna do?
No, I'm like, I'll just sit here. They're like, no, you have to go. I'm like, nope, I'll just stay. It's fine. For 20 more years, that's how. Okay, I'll just sit here. I'm not gonna go anywhere. It's fine. So, yeah. I'm not trying to die today. I'm not trying to kill other people. Um, and then she's talking about her, and I did say she, whenever he's like, isn't it supposed to rain? And she's like, so what if it rains? And I was like, okay, I do love the rain, and I do love hanging out in the rain, but I still don't like her. I just like that one thing that she also likes.
Yes.
And then he's talking about her dad, and he's like, I'm sorry, your dad's terrible, or whatever he said, basically. And she's like, sometimes he's nice, like when we watch TV together. I'm like, that's not good.
Before that, we skipped him actually like blacking out.
No.
Yeah.
Not yet. The dad hasn't showed up yet.
Oh, because that conversation about her dad being nice and watching TV was after they were already at the park or at the water.
Oh, you're right. I just didn't write down the other one.
Yeah. So he like. Sorry,
yeah.
This is what because I
did write it down.
Okay.
Yeah. So her dad shows up while they're at the house, and they go and hide in the closet. And he immediately has a flashback to hiding in the closet with his mom when his dad's on a rampage. And I was like,
and this one I knew was a real flashback, not a weird normal flashback, because it was a different actress.
No, it was still her.
Oh no, she looked very young though.
Yeah, they aged her down and changed her hair.
Yeah.
That's because I had to do a double take. So I was like, did they change the actress entirely? I was like, she's not that much older than whoever this is. Like, it's like 10 years ago, not like 100 years ago.
Right. No, but they changed her enough that it was like believable that this was an actual memory.
They made her look very Shelley Duvall-esque. That's exactly who she looked like at first, and that's why I had to question myself. Because also, because
Shelley Duvall
that young.
It would not have been Shelley Duvall.
No, exactly. That's why I had to second guess myself. Everything was fine though. Yeah, and that flashback sent him, and she had to like bring him back because he just went out.
Well,
was not coming back.
And then, because the reason I wanted to stop and make sure we talk about this is I had a paragraph here because I was very torn in my feelings in this moment. Because on the one hand, Cody seems to genuinely care that something is not right with him. Like, she's taking care of him. She's worried about him. She's asking the right questions. But on the other hand, her being in his life at all and her environment is triggering. But then also, like, her, like, and the fact that Norma hates her makes her in and of herself another trigger. So like it's a weird, because she cares in a way that no one else in his life does. So you don't want him to lose that.
Because he also opens up to her more than he does anyone else in his life.
Right. But if the person that is helping you cope is also that big of a trigger and you don't know how to handle triggers, it's
right. It's just
and it's not her fault. Like, she has no idea that she's triggering him.
Yeah. No, of course.
So I was just very torn because, I mean, she's an aunt.
Until she starts giving him alcohol when she was told he has a medical condition.
But again, if she has ODD, that's not really her fault either, because that's
but your mental health is not your fault, but it's your responsibility.
But they're kids.
I understand.
You can't No, I know, but this goes back into the whole, like, we watch these shows with teenagers as the main character and hold them to the same responsibilities that we would hold adults to, but it's not fair. And none of the adults in the show are fucking decent human beings. No, so like, how do we hold these kids responsible for their mental health when the adults aren't responsible for their mental health in this show? Like, it's just, the whole thing's fucked.
Yeah. Still not a fan, but
no, I'm not saying I like it.
No,
I feel like I get Cody.
No, I get it because she does. I mean, she doesn't have a chance. She has no one. I mean, her dad is not there for her. He's only there to hurt her. Like, and she doesn't seem to have any other friends. So like, not like she literally has no one to rely on or anyone to learn anything from. So,
yes.
Yeah, good times. And because she doesn't, they go back and she's talking about how sometimes her dad is nice. And they watch them together. And Norman's just like, okay. And then she's like, you know what else is nice? And she goes to kiss him. And I think she spits alcohol into his mouth.
She sure does.
Like, what is happening here? I was like, that is, I don't like that. Especially for like not expecting it, I would choke immediately. He's laying on his back. And the whole situation
I thought it was
very
funny.
uncomfortable.
I thought it was funny.
I found it like, it just was like, I would be so uncomfortable. I would immediately choke.
Yeah.
And it would not go well, but I'm glad he didn't choke and die. But and then who comes around but Emma and Gunnar?
That was so awkward.
It was very awkward. She's like, "Oh, we have to find a new place to go," and he's like, "Norman Bates." Just like, oh God, should just turn around and left.
And Cody's like, "Why? We can all hang out here." And I was like, "Oh, you sweet, poor, naive little baby."
It's like, absolutely not. That's a terrible idea. But okay. And then I wondered if Cody was going to start getting flirty with Gunnar.
They would be such a better couple.
They would be, but I like Emma and Gunnar together. But
yeah,
that would put Emma and Norman together, and they do much better than Cody and Norman.
Yeah.
And anyone else that Norman's been with or been interested in. But then we leave them there for a bit, and we go back to Romero and Norma. And
I had to sit up for this part.
Oh yeah, you had to get ready. Alex is dressed in a nice suit, getting ready to go to the
looks so
deposition.
So hot.
He looks very nice.
Like, here's the thing: a man in uniform he always looks hot, but he looks so fucking sharp in that suit.
Just like very sharp. And Norma's like, "Can I call you Alex?" And then he says something off topic, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, you can call me Alex." And so now they're best friends. And she's like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm running for the seat." He's like, "Absolutely not." He's like, "You're not gonna get it." She's like, "What?" He's like, "It's not how this town works." He was like, "That seat's already decided."
And then she was like, "Yeah, no, but like Christine and Peter Hellman." And he was like, "Oh."
Yeah, and then he was like, "Well, good luck." And he was like, "Oh, by the way, I can see through your curtains at night." And she was like, "What? You can what?" He's like, "Yeah, okay, bye." Like, just thought I'd let you know.
The way he says it, the look on his face. I am a one-woman Alex Romero simp club. And I have no shame at all.
So I like him better than the rest, but, well, no, I like Dylan better. Dylan's my number one. But I'm not anti-Alex Romero. I could
but you don't like drool when he says he can see you through the window, like changing. And I'm like, okay, I will get, even if he said that to me, I would be like, I'll just take the curtains down.
Oh, goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. We are very different people. I'd be like, oh my God, I can never change in my room again. No curtains are good enough.
I would be like, next time, show me a text and come on up.
And you know he would. He's real into that. He's real into Norma. Like, even if he's like he's not, he is.
I don't care. Can he be into me?
Yes, absolutely. And then now we're jumping off a cliff.
I just like threw my Mountain Dew cap and like lost all ability to use my hands because I was thinking about Alex Romero.
You don't need that. It's okay.
Oh Lord. Whew. Whew.
Are we better?
Anyway, yeah, let's move on. He's not in the rest of the episode, so I'll be able to breathe again.
I see. Yes. That is a good point. Good point. So now we're jumping off a cliff at the lake. And what's his face? Gunnar is just like, I'm in it. And then they're like, Norman, he's like, I don't know. I'm super nervous. Would not have done it. Again, me, I don't do heights. Not for me.
Yeah. Okay, but when Norman finally does do it, like the single moment of him having like pure teenage fun, I was like, oh.
I know. I was like, he's having a normal teenage time. It was so nice. And it reminded me a little bit of the show Panic on Hulu. And if anyone hasn't or Amazon. I think it's on Amazon. If anybody hasn't watched it, you definitely should. Jack Nicholson's son is in it. It's amazing.
Okay.
Anyway, that's what the scene reminded me of.
Oh.
And then Emma is like, that looks fine. And I was like, no. You
Do not.
cannot do that. I lose my breath when I jump off like a diving board sometimes if I hit a certain way.
Yeah.
I have asthma, but I don't have like oxygen necessary breathing problems. Like, you will die. I mean, this is just my, in case it's not clear, my sense is that's fine, or you will die.
Yeah.
Those are two options. It's not, there's nothing in between. There's not, oh, you're going to scratch. No, you will be okay, or you will die.
Fair.
That is it.
Not accurate, but like fair.
Not accurate, but also where I go every time. And so naturally, Emma's like, I'm doing this. And like, I get it. She wants to be normal. This is the most normal teenage thing she's ever been a part of. And like, it looks really fun. She's into it. She wants to prove that she can do it. And so she jumps.
Okay. I was like, you don't understand. Norman's only pure relationship in the entire world is Emma. If something goes wrong, he's going to fucking kill everyone.
Absolutely. Even though she came back up, I thought he was going to kill everyone because she took too long to come back up. And he like immediately, and like also, this is the thing where Norman, this is what throws Norman's character off, because as a psychopath, which I know is dissociative disorder, those are a little different, but I think there's a psychopath in him. Like, you don't care about people. You sometimes care about animals, which we know about Norman. And aside from Norma, he doesn't correctly care about people, I guess.
He doesn't correctly care about people, but that's what I'm saying. Emma's like the only thing. Emma's the only pure relationship.
Exactly. And like, so anytime I see their interaction, their true interactions, I'm like, is he that bad? Like, he dives in, immediately saves her. He knows how. He's like, get her oxygen tank, get her blanket. Like, we have to get all, like, he knows exactly what to do. He's smart. He's like thinking ahead. He's there to protect her. And I'm like, these are all of the like normal, smart responses.
Which, okay, there are two ways to read into that.
Mm-hmm.
There is the one that I think is where they're going, is that like Emma is like the one genuine relationship he has that isn't fucked up. And because it is a dissociative, like multiple personality disorder type thing, like there's still the ability for him to care about people, because like he does care about Dylan.
Mm-hmm. But differently,
but like he cared about Bradley. Like, it was selfish and he had like moments where he went dark, but he did care about Bradley. Like, so he still has that ability, and Emma's the one thing that like has never wronged him. So there's that way to read into it. But then if we want to go into the pure manipulative psycho place, there's the fact that Norma loves Emma. So if something happens to Emma, it makes his mom spiral. And if something happens to Emma, he loses any relationship with Emma's dad, who is teaching him taxidermy. And so like there are all these things that like he needs Emma to be okay for all of these other things that he needs to work out correctly. So there is the calculated part to it, but I think it leads more to the first one, where it's just that this is the one person he actually has no.
It does. Or I also thought about in a third direction.
Okay.
That Norman cares for wounded animals differently. And if you think about the people that he cares about the most, Norma has been a wounded animal essentially his whole life, because she's been beat up by his father. She's fallen apart. He's felt like he had to take care of her. Emma is sick all the time. And while she is more capable of taking care of herself to an extent, he may still see her as the wounded animal. And he reacted yelling at Cody the same way he reacted when the dog got hit. And
that's true. And if you think about it, like, I mean, Dylan has his whole fucked up thing. He cared about the Chinese girls. And even in terms of like Bradley and Blair, Bradley, when her dad died, he was there for her. And then she got power back. and they fought, and then she needed him again and he was able to do it. And with Blair, she was in power, he was uncomfortable, he saw her getting yelled at, clung to her, and then when she became the one with power in the situation again, that's when he killed her.
Exactly. So I think it could also potentially be that direction.
So there's a lot of layers to it.
Psychotic direction than the first one, which I think the first one's possible for sure. But
so I feel like there's the split, like there's the true BPD part to it, not BPD.
Dissociative.
Well, because it is dissociative or multiple, like,
It was called, like, what was it, apnea dissociative disorder or something?
Yeah, I don't know. But so there's that direction, there's the psychopath direction, and then there's more of the sociopath direction, which is kind of where they're leading him more, even though, because I feel like a lot of times when people talk about psychopaths and sociopaths, they like blend them when they're two very different things.
Absolutely.
So like I think there's 3 directions and all of them are plausible depending on where they're actually taking Norman's character.
And so maybe this is our untold Norman story where we talk about like it's so predictable. Maybe it's the Norman Emma stuff that we're not straight.
Right. Which is fair because that's the only time I give a shit about Norman.
And it is the storyline that's been lasting the longest and developing better.
Yeah.
Not as quickly, not too quickly. So
my prediction, Emma makes it for the whole show, series finale. He kills her.
Okay, I like it. My prediction is that she dies, but not because he kills her, because she's sickly. And
that's the last straw.
Messes everything up. Yep.
I don't hate that either.
So I don't hate yours either. I think both of them are very plausible. Okay. I think Emma has to die by the end.
But I don't think it's going to be soon. I think that's going to be the one thing that actually like
I think it's
times out correctly.
For sure last season. So then we're back at Norma, and she's hanging out with George. I kept forgetting his name. I just need to remember your brother's name is George. So when I refer to him as Christine's brother.
Wait, we skipped a tiny scene before that. Yes. Because we skipped the lady telling Dylan that he was now in charge, but not really. Zane was still in charge, but he was gonna there's because
short scene with Norma first.
There's a short scene with Norma. I didn't take any notes on the first scene with Norma.
Right. George. Yeah, I just kind of mentioned it.
Okay. All my notes are on the second Norma George scene.
Right. She's like helping him. I mean, he's helping her secure a seat, and it's like he used to be a lawyer and all that. And I was like, because when he said he used to be a lawyer and he's not now, I was like, tell me about it. So felt that, and then we go to Dylan.
Okay.
And he's talking to the lady in charge, and she tells him the story of her family and how her dad like started growing weed with his friends, then it turned out to be really great weed, and so it became a business, and then both of her parents died, and she was left with it whether she wanted it or not. And she tells Dylan she wants him to run things without letting Zane know, because she said it was a mistake giving Zane the power.
But like Zane's her brother, so she can't like take it back, but she needs somebody that she can trust to actually make sure Zane doesn't continue to fucking kill people and set people's houses on fire.
Right. And he tells her, she's like, don't worry, it'll be easy. He'll never know. Like, okay, you're probably right, first of all, because he's not the brightest, but
like also, definitely absolutely saw that coming.
Absolutely.
This is when I started to get mad that everything felt predictable, because I was like, no,
I mean, I've been expecting this for a few episodes, even before he was. Like, I figured that this was going to go into the path of Dylan having to take over because Zane sucks. Yeah. But then she said something that made me think of you when she was talking about, he tells her, she's like, I don't like to get my hands dirty. And he's like, that's really funny for someone who's like
loves dirt. And she said, I do love dirt because it's honest.
Yeah. It made me think of you. And all the time soil.
That was when I decided I liked her.
Yeah.
So like that makes sense.
I think she's good at being in power because she doesn't want the power.
Yeah, that's exactly. She's like, I only even grow weed because I enjoy figuring out how to make it better.
Right. Yeah. She's like, this is the part I like. She's
Yeah.
like, I don't talk to anybody. I
No,
don't
that was, I love that you thought of me because I was like, oh, I get it. I get it now. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then we go back to the other Norma and George scene.
Yes.
And he's telling her all this stuff, and she's like going through her points and doing all this, and he's like, don't worry about bringing all the info to the meeting that you so much that you leave yourself at home. And I was like, that is the best advice anyone can give Norma.
Yes.
It's her downfall every time.
Right. I said he's right. All of the knowledge in the world cannot win you an election. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But also, like, specifically Norma, I mean, when she went to the board meeting last time, she just, like, kept spewing facts, and she had no personality behind it, and that's what, like...
And then as soon as she, like, let herself just, like, have a personality, granted, she went a little overboard.
Right.
But, like, people loved her.
Exactly. So, like, you just have to be a person. And
but, like, even not just for Norma, just, like, in life. Do not, like, be prepared, but don't become so over-prepared that you forget to bring yourself.
Exactly. It's very important to be you.
Yes.
And so I loved that advice from him. Did you have any more on that scene? I know you said you wrote more.
No, that was I just really liked that moment.
I did too. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was good for Norma.
And it was the first time that I was like, oh, maybe George doesn't suck.
I don't know. Still not on the George doesn't suck boat
no,
yet.
But I feel like it's almost kind of the same dynamic as Zane and the lady, where it's like they're siblings, they're kids of what started this. They don't necessarily have the same motives. They're just both still in it. Like I could see that being the dynamic there.
It could be, but I just get this feeling from George.
Well, I get the feeling from anyone who thinks Norma is a rational, sane, wonderful woman because I've seen that she's not. But no, I mean, maybe. But I do think that there's a possibility that George is not quite as in it as Christine and Nick are.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's as far in, but I think he's still in it to an extent.
Because he has to be.
Because
who in that town isn't at this point? Emma and her dad, and nobody likes them. Well, Norman has killed people on both sides of that gang war.
Right. So he's
just not because of the gang war.
Exactly. Just brought himself into it. So then we return to Dylan and the lady. And she just comes in. She's like, are you awake? He's like, I am now. And she's like, don't take this personally. And we find out she is real into Dylan. And I was like, everything is adding up.
I said I also saw that coming. Sorry.
She brought a strange guy to her house. It would have been weird if it didn't happen, I feel like, based on the setup, you know? So, very quick scene.
Yep.
We're over it. We go back to Emma and Norman. And this is another scene. Norman's like, thinking about things. He's self-reflecting. He's like, I hope I didn't embarrass you. Did I overreact? I'm like, who are you? You were like thinking about things and like how you act and
this is a scene that I was like, Norman and Emma are like dancing around the fact that they still definitely have feelings for each other.
Right. And like this is, I mean, like you said, this is the way you can tell that it's his only true friend, because he's like asking her the things he wouldn't ask anyone else.
Yeah.
And making sure what she feels. And she's like, I'm not the one to ask. I don't know what normal is.
This is why I think that it is more genuine, because I think that if he didn't have any kind of actual feeling, I think he would tell her about the blackout. Because like, if there was no emotion, it would be like, this is person A. I trust person A. Person A has not done me wrong. Person A can have my secrets because they have kept X, Y, and Z secrets so far.
I feel like that's his relationship with Cody.
Yes. But with Emma, he doesn't tell her about Bradley. He doesn't tell her about the blackouts. He doesn't tell her about Dylan and Norma and what happened. Like, he doesn't tell her things because he actually cares about pushing her away. But because he's like spiraling so quickly, he doesn't get that those, like, he's having trouble processing emotion versus everything else that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we end that scene with him saying, I'm gonna get back to work on my crow. I was like, all right, that's fine.
And he's like, thanks. Can I have it?
I was like, all right, that's normal. That's okay, bye.
Bye.
And Norma is working on her speech, and she's like, this seat means everything to me. I'm like, it's been 48 hours since you learned there was a seat. Like,
everything means everything to her.
Right. I was like, let's dial it back a bit, Norma. Like, it's not that big of a deal. But she was just having a whole thing. So then she goes to see the mayor. And it looks like she's gonna get in because of who she knows. Because he's like, Christine, George, and Nick have all put you up for the board. And she's like surprised here that Nick added on there. But he's like, and she's just like, okay, yeah, I know them.
She's like, I appreciate them being in my corner.
Yeah, and he's like, they're my friends. And I'll do whatever they want, basically.
Basically.
And
but before she goes to the mayor's office, she says something about George helping her with her speech, and Norman's like, oh, he did? And I was like, ew, I just said all these nice things about you and Emma, and now you're gonna be jealous of George. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Right. And he kind of backpedaled because she's like, this is what he said. And he's like, oh no, that's good advice. Like, do that. Like, she's like, he's actually giving you good advice. But yeah, and when she leaves the mayor's office, he says, you're in with all the right people. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
But I said the mayor only cares about the people she knows, not what she believes, which is absolutely accurate for small town politics.
Absolutely. And big town politics. It's got a lot to do with a lot of politics. It's what you know, not what you know. All of life.
In what job is that not entirely true?
Exactly. Very true. And then we come back to Sweet Emma, the only person that's good. And I just said I love her taste in music. She's listening to James Blunt, and she's always got some kind of like.
Sometimes it's weird though. I don't know why she was playing Katy Perry in the office.
I don't know why she was playing Katy Perry, but now we're playing James Blunt. I'm just like, it's fine. It's a good time.
It's fine. Yeah.
And always makes me happy. And Cody drops by to apologize first, which good. Like, at least we're learning.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Cody's not completely shitty.
She's not a moron either. She just like.
No, I'm
past the limit.
This scene made me super pro Cody.
Yeah. I'm not pro Norman and Cody, but I disliked her less after this scene for sure.
Yeah, because she apologizes, which is great. But
I think she's one of those people that pushes until she goes past the edge, and when she realizes she's gone too far, she backpedals and she's like, okay, that's where the line is. Like,
but I liked that she came to Emma instead of to Norma, because she was like, I respect that Norman asked me not to talk to his mom. I respect Norman. I don't trust parents, but I also care enough about Norman to know that this is not okay. And you two seem to care enough about each other that you might be able to help him in a way I can't. So here, like, you are the person who should know about this. I thought that was like the best, like that's exactly what I would have done in that situation. Like
best scenario.
Yeah. Like best case scenario for Cody to get it off her chest. Obviously not for Norman, but nothing's a good case scenario for Norman.
Or for Emma, because now she's in the middle of all of this.
Right. But like for Cody to actually take care of Norman, only option.
Right. And I think this was being towards the end of the episode. I was like, this is where we're setting up for something even bigger than normal to happen. That's why I think it's gonna go so much.
Yeah.
That's why I think like the end of the scene was just the beginning of the kickoff. Like
right.
This episode was the beginning of the kickoff. Was like, me feel that. And then we go back to Norma again, and she's on the phone, thrilled, and I was like, she got the seat. Turns out she did. She knows everyone.
Yeah.
And she just like goes and tells Norman, and he's like decorating his birds, and I was like, here we are, we're decorating with our birds now. And then they're going to his driving lesson.
Also, when she threw himself on her and they landed on his bed, I was like, ew.
I know, this is too much. I
hate it here.
I know. I know. And they go to oh my gosh. They go to the driving test and Emma calls and she's like, I want to talk to you. And she's like, are you coming back? She's like, yeah, in a few hours. She's like, okay. She's like, well, now I need to know what you're calling about. She's like, no, I'm going to tell you in person.
And she was like, no, I'm worried now. Please just tell me.
No, you have to tell me right now. And so she does. And she's like, okay, thanks. Everything's fine. And hangs up. And I was like, okay. And then she goes up and she's like, if he blacked out recently, can he still get a driver's license? And he's like, absolutely not. He's like, has it been in the past 3 years? Norman's like, no. She's like, yes. He's like, well, he can't do this then.
Is that true though?
I have no idea.
That was my note. I was like, 3 years seems like a lot.
It does seem like a lot, but I mean, I know there are like stuff like that.
Yeah, like there's definitely rules about like loss of consciousness, but like 3 years just seems like a lot, especially if it's not like a chronic condition.
Right.
Which, I mean, obviously with Norman it is, but like...
No, obviously, yeah. But like, I don't know. I didn't look that up. I should have. Hold, please. My aunt just texted me that she needs proof of life.
That's good.
Yeah.
You are alive.
Okay. All right. I haven't talked to them since like 2:00 yesterday because my phone keeps dropping calls for some reason. I can't use words. And then I just didn't talk to anyone all day. And now we're recording, so.
Right.
But yeah, so now he's like super angry at her. And I was like, she definitely did the right thing because with all of his dissociating and blacking out, he should not be behind the wheel of a car. And also that is easier access for him to go kill people. And so then he goes to talk to Cody.
Well, when he was like, go home, I was like, oh, he's going to go hurt someone.
When he said go home, mother, the very first line, I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Yeah. I was like, here we go. He's going to go kill somebody.
Yeah. And so he goes over and starts yelling at Cody. And I was like, oh, he's going to kill Cody. I was like, that's crazy. We just got her. And then her dad's sleeping and he wakes him up. And he does not care. He is like, he's not like, oh, sorry. He's like, I'm here to talk to Cody and I'm going to do it. And I was like, oh gosh. Ooh. And he punches Norman and then starts hurting Cody. Norman doesn't care for that. And he ends up pushing him down the stairs and he died. I assume he dies.
Yes, that would be my assumption.
And I just put, well, we knew that was coming.
I go, this is the most predictable cliffhanger so far. Like every episode has ended on something that I've been like, oh shit. Except for this one. I was like, nope. That's it.
No, this is absolutely what was going to happen. It's whatever's going to, there's something big that's going to happen next.
Oh, I'm sure that the season itself is going to go in a direction I wasn't expecting, but I was just mad because I was like 15 episodes in a row that I was like, holy cow. And then this one I was like, oh.
Yeah. Okay. It's like, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, I don't think it probably should have been rated as high as it was.
Yeah.
But I think it wasn't a bad episode. I think it was, there were some we had important discussions, especially Emma and Norman.
Yeah.
Council, with Cody. There are important things to look at in this episode.
Sure.
But watching wise.
Yeah, it was not the most exciting. It definitely, it was definitely that dip before the big.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Which is very common.
Yeah.
It's fine. So who do you want to punch?
Cody. Not Cody. Norman. Sorry, Norman. I don't want to punch Cody.
Yeah, I would have said Norman, but you did. So I'm going to say Cody's father. I understand he's dead. I still would like to punch him.
Yeah. Sorry, I said Cody so emphatically, but I literally didn't do that at all.
Very into that.
And then I was like, no,
that's shocking.
I was like, that's not who I meant at all.
I was like, that is the least person I would think you would have.
Yeah, no.
Other than Alex.
Yeah.
But who is your MVP?
Weirdly, I think it's gonna be the Dirt Lady.
Well, that's a good one. I like
just
her.
Because she's new and I still haven't figured her out yet.
We don't hate her yet.
We don't hate her yet. And I can't pick Alex every week, especially because this week he didn't do anything other than look good.
Although he was my backup MVP, but I picked Emma.
Fair.
Because she's a sweetheart. And she did do the
right thing. She did all the right things.
Well,
Cody would have been my second.
Alex was my second because he just.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be good for Norma. I think he's going to be the only thing that keeps her grounded when she ends up in this crazy people.
Which does mean that eventually Norman's going to kill him.
Right. Yeah. And he actually won't deserve it, unlike everyone else who Norman has killed.
Correct. That's fair. Like, at this point, has Norman really killed anybody who didn't deserve it? Maybe Blair. Like, maybe she didn't deserve death. We don't actually know what happened.
Yeah. No, I meant like Norma related. He hasn't like.
Oh yeah, no.
Because of Norma have all been like.
No, like Keith and Zach and Norman's dad have all definitely deserved to die.
No,
Blair probably didn't.
I mean, she probably would have caused some chaos in the families because she already had.
Yeah.
And she probably would have continued to make that stirred up, which would have caused other deaths.
Yeah.
But at this point, I don't think she deserved to die because of anything specific yet.
Right. And like, we don't even know what actually happened.
Right. I think she was just crossing boundaries in the families mostly.
Well, and with Norman.
Right. Well, definitely with Norman, but I mean, like, that's what I think was happening with the crime families, was she was crossing between the different people. She was sleeping with people on both sides and stuff like that.
But yeah, no, because Norman's body count for death is still higher than his body count for sex, and that is a no-no.
Absolutely. So good for him.
Because I mean, he's now up to having slept with 2 people, but he's up to having cold-bloodedly murdered 3.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he only killed 2. Norma killed Keith. And
he just killed Cody's dad.
Oh yeah. This episode had it.
This episode, yeah, he was like tied for a minute, and then this episode, nope, back to death.
Yep. So, forgot about that. That just happened.
It literally is how we ended the show.
It's fine. I've had coffee and Coke. I've had a lot of caffeine today, and still my brain's not.
It's because you didn't have any cocaine.
It's because I didn't have any cocaine. You're right.
I feel like we talk about cocaine on this podcast way too much for 2 people who do not do drugs.
Right. You're probably right. You're probably right. Yeah. I guess it's better that we're not 2 people that talk about cocaine a lot on the podcast and also do drugs.
That's also true. Yeah.
So, whatever. If you want to talk to us about drugs or whatever that we clearly know everything about, we are the people to talk to.
Yes.
Anything else you want to talk about? If you have theories, if you have preferences between Alex and Dylan or any of the other characters that we don't care about, you can email us at deathandaliens@gmail.com. You can find us on all the social media at Death and Aliens. You can find me and listen to my Marvel rants at CECloud13.
And you can follow me and watch me simp over real men, not just fictional men, at EMKAY_superstar.
But also fictional men too. And
definitely.
We will see you for Sci-Fi Sunday with Jonathan Klassner.
Not Michael Wessner. Bye.